Hello and welcome to the Runner's High Times podcast. I'm your host, Gene Priest. And yes, this is a show about running and music and mental health and life and basically everything, but mainly running and how it relates to everything else that I just mentioned. And it relates way more than you would ever maybe even imagine. And yes, this show is about running, music, mental health, life, love, and probably screaming into the void at some point. So let's just be real here. I started this podcast because running quite literally saved my life. At a place and a time when I felt like I was just extremely lost and I was very unhappy with what I saw in the mirror, and very unhappy with kind of who I was at the time. And it's one of those things where when you're not happy with what you see looking back at yourself in the mirror, you're gonna fail in a whole lot of other areas too. You got to be happy with the inside. You have to be happy with yourself. You have to accept yourself, and you have to be ready to take any journey that is in front of you. And this show is about my journey, but it will unfold in coming episodes. I will have a solo run, throwing up air quotes there, episode, solo run episodes will just, be me ranting into the void, or you, if you're listening, thank you. Just about topics, anything to do with running, anything to do with music, anything to do with mental health, and bringing them all together. This was all born out of an idea that started for me on a run that I was taking in January of 2022, January 23rd to be exact. And I know because I made a post on Instagram and made the account for Runner's High Times. I remember being on the run, right? So for me, running is so important because it's where all of my best ideas happen. It's where I can process emotions. I can process and deeply inspect and think and analyze and process and work through a lot of mental stuff on runs that I always, kind of find it hard to do when you're just sitting in, a normal place that you're, kind of always in, like home or your office or, I don't know. Get outside. That's what I'm saying. Basically, the get outside. All that to say, this all started with a dream to do a podcast where I could talk about how much running helped my mental health, helped my anxiety and stress. And I want to be able to speak to other people who maybe have experienced the same thing or maybe had an entirely different experience altogether. And that's what's so exciting and beautiful about these conversations and hopefully the future of where I see this podcast going. There are going to be some incredible episodes with guests, and there are going to be some episodes where you're stuck with me. It's just us. And who knows how that goes.